The moment felt like the greatest victory imaginable. But no one realized that everything had actually started much earlier. On the very night, a father tucked his little son, Rico, into bed and told him a magical bedtime story. A dangerous dream quietly took root inside the child's heart. In that fantasy, the father and son had wiped out the old universe and built an entirely new one of their own. It was a world filled with impossible wonders, including the most terrifying roller coaster ever created, and a giant mountain carrying the carved faces of both father and son. According to the story, the first step toward making that dream a reality was to locate the strongest princess in the entire galaxy and drain away her incredible energy. That powerful princess was named Celestia. Meanwhile, Baron Griggs had already escorted Nolan to the entrance of the Sky Nexus, the massive gateway connecting every world across the universe, where glowing stars from countless planets gathered together. Looking around in confusion, someone questioned why a princess would willingly travel to the most dangerous corner of the galaxy. At that same place lived Blaze, the fiery fox who had once commanded an elite orbital fleet. His life changed forever when the engine of his high-speed cruiser exploded during a mission, throwing him into a mysterious space-time rift that stranded him on this distant world. Ever since that day, he had been working there while desperately searching for a path back home. Even someone as fearless as Blaze refused to fly toward that cursed planet. However, after hearing the reward, he laughed and admitted that maybe the money was worth the risk after all. He accepted the deal, promised to fuel up his R-Wing immediately, and said they would leave within 5 minutes. While Blaze prepared the ship, Mason and Leo reached the Sky Nexus with the others. Without wasting another second, they climbed aboard and launched their rescue mission to save Princess Celestia. But the moment they entered deep space, Rico's massive warship blocked their path and unleashed a relentless barrage of attacks. Fortunately, Blaze was an extraordinary pilot whose flying skills bordered on impossible. He steered through giant and tiny asteroids with breathtaking precision, twisting, spinning, and narrowly avoiding every incoming blast while firing back at the same time. Within moments, he destroyed every missile launcher mounted on the enemy vessel. His constant taunts infuriated young Rico so much that he stormed into the weapon chamber searching for the strongest cannon available. However, his father repeatedly stopped him from using the deadliest weapon because he still couldn't bring himself to seriously harm Mason and his friends. Respecting his father's wishes, Rico reluctantly settled for a much smaller launcher instead. No one expected that a single shot from it would transform Mason and Leo into helpless little babies. As confusion spread across the ship, control was lost. The spacecraft slammed into a massive asteroid and began spiraling toward the surface below. Delighted by what had happened, Rico accidentally dropped a tiny laser blaster while crashing alongside them. Everyone ended up stranded on a strange and unfamiliar planet. Their spaceship had suffered major damage and couldn't be repaired anytime soon. While the two baby brothers wandered around without understanding the danger, Yaru noticed the fallen laser gun hanging from a tree branch. He eagerly climbed upward to grab it, but suddenly froze after spotting an enormous dinosaur waiting beneath the tree. Trying not to panic, he whispered a warning to everyone. Unfortunately, he failed to notice that the two mischievous toddlers had already turned the giant dinosaur into their own personal playground. They happily climbed over its face, poked at its enormous eyes, and even treated its wide-open mouth like a fun ride. Nolan nearly lost his mind trying to rescue the reckless children before the furious dinosaur attacked. After finally gathering both babies into his arms, the entire group found themselves trapped in a desperate chase that lasted for hours. Every turn brought another close escape until, at the perfect moment, Rico's dropped laser weapon proved to be their only hope and ultimately saved everyone's lives. After escaping, they returned to the crash site where Blaze remained heartbroken, still mourning the one he loved. Mason could barely hide his growing frustration anymore, and his emotions finally exploded as he confronted Blaze. Meanwhile, Leo managed to activate a wireless communicator, hoping that somehow someone would hear the signal. To everyone's surprise, the transmission reached a remote orbital observatory. The stargazers immediately recognized the names of Mason and Princess Celestia because they had heard those legends since childhood. Resting quietly on a nearby desk was an ancient storybook that documented the entire history surrounding Baron Griggs and the Forgotten Kingdom. It spoke of a brave princess named Celestia and described a terrifying roller coaster standing beside a mountain engraved with the faces of a father and his son. Every detail perfectly matched the bedtime tale that Rico's father had once shared with him. Seeing his son's unwavering belief moved the father deeply. Determined not to disappoint him, he fully embraced his dark ambitions once again. Together, the father and son activated the massive energy collector, and glowing rings of terrifying power surrounded Princess Celestia. She could feel her magical strength being drained away with every passing second. Watching through powerful telescopes, the heroes witnessed everything unfolding before their eyes. Thankfully, the rescue team had already completed their preparations. Their next mission was clear: they had to save Princess Celestia before it was too late. With Blaze and the shining stars creating the perfect distraction, Baron Griggs and Mason secretly slipped into Rico's heavily fortified planet. Unfortunately, their presence was discovered almost immediately. Smiling confidently, Rico slammed a large button that triggered a hidden trap beneath their feet, sending both heroes crashing downward. Fans of classic adventure games would instantly recognize the place because it recreated the famous obstacle course almost exactly. Only this time Rico controlled every deadly mechanism instead of a player. Countless moving traps, blazing fire, and dangerous obstacles stood between the heroes and their destination. Thanks to their perfect teamwork, Mason and Baron Griggs avoided every deadly challenge with incredible precision. But after surviving every obstacle, they finally reached a massive pit stretching across the path, leaving them with their most difficult challenge yet: